Tender Violence, Violent Tenderness. Posted originally on the Archive of Our Own at https://archiveofourown.org/works/73139111. 1. Rating, mature. Archive warning, creator chose not to use archive warnings. Category, M/M. Fandom, Bungo Stray Dogs. Relationship, Dazai Osamu, Nakahara Chuya, Bungo Stray Dogs. Characters, Nakahara Chuya, Bungo Stray Dogs, Dazai Osamu, Bungo Stray Dogs. Additional tags, implied sexual content, implied top to Nakahara Chuya. Rated M because none of the sex is described, but there are quite a few explicit mentions of it. I promise I'm making a point. Asexuality spectrum, asexual Dazai Osamu, miscommunication, Nakahara Chuya-centric, Bungo Stray Dogs. Character study, violent thoughts, lots of them, as a substitute for explicitly written sex. Sokoku's unconventional mating rituals, complicated relationships, unconventional relationship, purple prose, vignettes. Language, English, stats. Published October 27th, 2025. Words, 6,807. Chapters 1 of 1. Tender Violence, Violent Tenderness by Shroomsprouts. Summary. Time does not cause the extinction of desire. Tenderness does not change the jagged shape of it. It is dichotomous, perhaps, that Chuya wants to split Dazai apart all the more when he does not wish for violence. Or, a study on perception and desire and everything adjacent. Notes. This work has become surprisingly personal to me, which I am very foreign to since I seem to unintentionally separate my own feelings from my art. A lot of Chuya's thoughts and feelings contradict themselves intentionally because that's what being such a complicated relationship and having such complicated feelings of love and disdain for someone is like. This should be my lesson not to write yaoi fanfiction while rekindling a relationship with a girl that rejected me quite rudely 2 years ago. I will probably do it again. Happy reading! See the end work for more notes. The first of the fights started and ended within the same second. Chuya was walking home from a particularly boring paperwork-filled day, simmering with leftover restlessness, easy irritation. Of course, Dazai's ideals conditions to bother him. Dazai poked the dog with a stick. He looked up with something sickeningly akin to pride once he got bitten, sprawled across the pavement a bit too elegantly, bruise forming on his cheek, blood rushing from his nose to his mouth. The second of the fights starts later the same day, right on Chuya's living room carpet. This one is a lot more eventful. Dazai easily dodges Chuya's initial punch. He dodges the upcoming kick, then the second punch, and dodges again when Chuya simply tries to jump at him, wild and feral. Chuya restudies himself on his feet, skin prickling. His eyes lock onto Dazai right in front of him, breathing through his nose. Both of them stand still. Dazai backs away only when Chuya steps closer. Reverse mirror, cornered animal. Chuya exhales. Chuya snickers. Blood sings inside his veins, pulsing against his muscle tissue. His lips curl into a tingly, uncontrollable grin. And it begins. Chuya's lungs have never felt emptier. His breath stutters out of his mouth, hot against his lips. Sweat runs along his burning skin, though it does nothing to soothe the sting. His shirt and pants cling damply to his body. He has tossed away his jacket somewhere. Dazai is panting beneath him. Red-faced. Strands of hair curling around his forehead and jaw, bandages undone enough for traces of his other eye to peek through. His collar looks wet, as do the bandages beneath it. He looks up at Chuya with a wild tremor in his eyes, pulsating dark pupil. Chuya's hands perch on the contracting surface of his chest. Lungs, hard under his fingers. Chuya imagines, in that moment, that he has Dazai's frantically beating heart directly in his palm. He visualizes a bare hand. Fuck, when did he even take his gloves off? Plunging into the skin of Dazai's chest, breaking it apart, blood gushing out. He thinks about pulling Dazai's ribs open. Dazai breathes. His mouth is slack. Chuya can almost see hot puffs of air coming out like smoke. The room is spinning. The room is warm. Chuya is spinning. Chuya is warm. He pushes himself off Dazai before he outright begins to spiral. Breath still cut short, body even more alight than during the fight. He rushes to the bathroom to take a shower, and when he comes back out, Dazai is gone. Dazai is a live target. He moves, he dodges, even if he does not try to hit Chuya back because he knows it would be futile. He adapts, he changes, he tries to make the most of what he has, tripping and trapping and whatnot, dodging. Dazai is a live target. He is alive. He is alive. He is alive. The dummy in front of Chuya isn't. The punching bag in the corner of the room isn't either. Chuya punches and his fists connect every time. His knuckles sting and his muscles ache, and he keeps punching and ignites a distinct feeling of lack. Absence of satisfaction or satiation or something. He drives his forehead into the training dummy's wooden head. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. That doesn't fix anything. Osamu Dazai loves slithering into the fissured crevices of Chuya's life and building nests before Chuya even has the chance to notice the cracks were there, before he can even try to fix it in a normal way. And Dazai fits. Quite annoyingly, he always fits, like the space split open for him. He is not made of the same materials Chuya is, but it's close enough to work. He curls into the holes, and he lives in everything wrong about Chuya. He looks up at Chuya again, spread on Chuya's kitchen floor this time. Chest heaving beneath Chuya's palm, eyes blown, red blotches turning purple on his cheeks, and a droplet of red trickling from his cupid's bow down to his cheek. Chuya desperately wants to lick it. He wants to lick the deceptively soft planes of Dazai's face. The round curves, the gentle edges. Near feminine if you look at it right. If Dazai wants it to be. If his lashes spill over his lids just so and he purses his lips and whatever else it is he does. It doesn't particularly matter, because Chuya has never cared for stupid, subjective concepts like feminine or masculine, but that makes Dazai look delicate, somehow. Breakable. And it makes Chuya want to break him, in every way he's allowed. To split Dazai's body open, in every way he's allowed. Dazai breathes, now slower, tangible beneath Chuya's palms and within his frame of vision. Chuya should probably get up because they're both beginning to catch their breaths and the excuses are running out. Dazai breathes, hair gushing from between his pink lips and the microscopic gaps between his crooked teeth. Chuya pulls himself away, and he does not think about stealing Dazai's breath from his lungs in every way he's allowed. There's something intricately satisfying about feeling bones breaking. Chuya hates himself for thinking so as often as he does. He does not like being cruel, doesn't like how his body seems to beg for said cruelty, how the incoherent murmurs in his mind howl for it. He needs things to break. His body is too compact to bear all this, whatever it is. Anger, violence, and some vague, undiscovered emotion. He needs to let it out, or it will burst out of him. It will tear the world to shreds. Dazai coils right into that gaping hole. Chuya's soft foot connects with the hard bone of Dazai's ribs, and he feels something give. Dazai stumbles to the floor with a hiss. Chuya has no reason to crawl on top of him, but he still does. He fights the urge to do more unnecessary things. He fights the urge to sink his nails into that spot and pull the fractured bone out. He sits on the floor next to Dazai's wheezing body, palm splayed over his side. He presses lightly into the softened skin. He thinks that, perhaps without clothes in the way, it would give way like a dough, letting Chuya knead and tear and dip into it. Dazai makes a sound like a whine, curling the edges of it around Chuya's name, and Chuya's body shivers. It cannot be said that Chuya himself shivers, just his body, because he is not stupid enough to believe that. He has witnessed Dazai get hurt worse without making a sound, without a falter in the annoyingly elegant strut of his step. Dazai with a broken rib is Dazai on a normal day. Still, Chuya presses down again, and Dazai makes a similar sound, high and breathy, stupidly alive. His chest heaves beneath Chuya's palm. Chuya exhales a shaky breath, fingers burning. He rises to unsteady feet. It could be called a routine if there was a schedule or a pattern or a rhyme or a reason. Chuya cannot possibly understand what Dazai gets out of it, poking and provoking until Chuya hits him, just so Chuya hits him. Just so they dance around the apartment for what might be hours until Chuya catches up to Dazai and splatters him over the floor. Dazai claims to hate pain. He has made it one of his 2 personality traits. He wants to die, and he hates pain, which is why he cannot find a pleasant way to kill himself. That is the core of the identity Dazai has built, which he pretends is his. Yet he gives Chuya this. He lets Chuya dribble worse bruises into him than those he usually complains about for hours. Sometimes even worse than the ones Chuya can see actually take a physical toll on him precisely because Dazai inconveniences himself by trying to hide them. He succeeds at hiding them, of course, but Chuya knows better. Chuya despises how pathetically special these fights make him feel. How they have his intestines twisting into ribbons. How he lies awake thinking of all the proof of him left on Dazai's skin that Dazai allows to be there. How he visualizes the shape of each purple blotch and grieves that he cannot see them, trace their edges over Dazai's bare body. Chuya wonders how far Dazai will let this go. How much he'll allow Chuya to hurt him, in what ways. That becomes a terribly dangerous thought. when put into practice. It's not even because Chuya becomes more violent. He really doesn't. He honestly can't, since he wasn't holding back to begin with. Dazai is breathless and damp and still covered with that stupid 3-piece suit he wears all the time that Chuya has never really seen him out of. With the bandages that Chuya has also not seen him out of in any real way. Chuya grabs his wrist. He is breathing and hot and gazing with the eyes of a frightened animal, but with none of the fear. Chuya thinks only Dazai could manage such a blatantly oxymoronic expression. He wants to eat it, unsure of how that's even supposed to work, but he does. Dazai lies beneath him over the carpeted floor. His left wrist in Chuya's grasp, held somewhere next to his head, caged beneath Chuya's fingers. He does not say anything. His lips are slightly parted. His breath stutters when Chuya's hold tightens, when the thin skin layer is driven into bone until Chuya can be certain he left his mark. Dazai does not say anything. Chuya sits on the shower floor, freezing water pouring over him. His skin does not stop burning. He digs fingernails into his hunched-up legs, drags them over his calves. The oily layers of dead skin peel and gather beneath the nail bed. He looks at the red scratches left behind and feels an unpleasantly pleasant swirl inside his stomach. He thinks about marks left on skin. He thinks about Dazai's fingers on his legs. The back of his head hits the tiled wall with a defeated groan as fingers trail up his thigh. Dazai doesn't even leave anymore. Chuya will come out of the shower to find him unchanged, still with his waistcoat and damp shirt and sometimes even shoes on, with the curling tips of his hair and the drying remnants of blood, tucked into the couch watching TV, or rummaging through Chuya's fridge, or doing distinctly Dazai things like sprawling in star positions right where Chuya left him on the floor, or standing in the middle of rooms, or curling into the corners of them. It makes quite a lot of sense that neither of them are normal afterwards, because the fights aren't normal. Because the fights seem to mold the shape of the air around them, and it does not turn back no matter how much cold water Chuya soaks in, or how many windows he opens. It does not reset until they spend enough time apart for their existences to separate again, so Dazai can turn back to his usual, annoying, childish self, and Chuya can turn into his most irritable self to match him. Still, even when the days have passed and they are behaving normally, bickering, insulting, half-assed shoulder punches, Chuya cannot quite settle into it. He cannot quite take his eyes away from Dazai anymore. They will trail over the soft line of his jaw, or focus on that one mole high up on his cheek, or on the way his lower lashes sometimes stick together. He will stare at the way Dazai's left central incisor juts out, as if trying to jump over the right one, or at his stuck-out lower canines. He will scrutinize the messy swoop of his hair, the one section of his fringe that always distractingly curls upwards. He will convince himself that the ache to touch is strictly an ache to punch, that Dazai doesn't mention it because he doesn't notice, that Dazai hasn't been staring at him like that ever since he had entered into Chuya's life.